On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Have the career, she can have the kids, she can have the money, she can have it all, she can have everything that she wants, and still, without having to, in my opinion, sacrifice of what we say that women have to do in order to be able to have a marriage or have a man at a certain status and all of that. That's my interpretation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can. I mean, even Judge Lynn Toller came into one of my rooms on Clubhouse and spoke about it in depth, and just how she conducts herself at home with her husband versus how she conducts herself obviously on divorce court, and how her and her husband like managed those things through the years of their kids growing up, and how he was the one that pushed her into even doing TV and doing any of that. She was just a lawyer. She was just a judge, and he is the one that pushed her into that. And I think that, like, I mean, she may be a unicorn because, I mean, there's only one Judge Lynn Toller, but she's proven that you can definitely do it. So,
why they saying what they saying? I know more than enough to be able to know whether or not this dude is lying to me. I know whether or not he's stealing. I know when to go over it and when to suggest things. Sometimes I suggest things to my accountant that he didn't even realize, or I bring information that I gained from somebody else and having a conversation and be able to have that with him. It's still my responsibility to control and understand every single thing that goes on with my finances, because it's my finances. They're nothing more than a help me. They're not the person that I'm supposed to give the responsibility over to. As a man, it's still my responsibility.
Hey, and I just want to add this context to it because I think people miss out.
Yes, and they be like, my accountant stole all of my money. Well, that's because you wasn't on top of it and you ain't have control of your stuff.
I just want to add one context to it, which I got to realize this, and I'm gonna just put in simple terms, straight from ATL. Look, a thermometer advised that thermostat change. So now the effectiveness of your advice, yes, it will be played, but at the end of the day, that man will actually change that.
Facts.
So I'm just saying, I know that this is a crazy analogy, but I like stuff like this. But yes, you would be advising, but you know what? No matter what you go through, isn't that the job of a woman to assist and advise her husband?
Yeah, and Larita has a lot of insight. And I just did a whole thing where I said that, when we go places, sometimes she whisper it in my ear. She's like, hey, Anton, I noticed this, or she's very, very smart from a business perspective. I control the narrative. I determine whether or not we're going to go or we're going to stop, or whether or not we're going to rock with it or we're going to go all in at the end of the day. It's still me. I'm going to control it. Now, I'm going to take what she's saying into consideration, but the buck stops at the top. That's the end of that conversation.
I feel like that the best thing that you can do as a woman is to let him make that decision, so that if it goes wrong, it's his fault. I gave you some advice. I told you that I thought this was the best way. If you want to go do another way and it don't work out, that's on you, baby.
See, and we take the good, and that's true, Kayla. And we take the good with the bad, right? We got to be just as accountable when we take all of the credit, and we also got to take all of the credit when things fall. All of that is going to rise and fall on my shoulders, and so you can't then put the blame on somebody else. Say, oh, it's because of the woman. That's not what we do. Either we gonna take it all or we gonna lose it all, but it all falls back on our shoulders. I'm with that. I'm 100% with that.
Yeah, and Anton, in light of what you're saying, bro, listen, I ain't the most articulate dude. If you're a C student, I'm a D+ student, right? So I will say this: the example that I was using was actually ties into what you're saying in terms of Herb leverage Dorothy's insight to help amass that, but he was the one that consistently set the thermostat in that relationship. So what you're saying is spot on. We do consider, like, even for me, I consider the information that I get from my girl, but ultimately the decision lies with me, which means I have to set the thermostat in that relationship.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, bro.
And look, Kayla made another good point though, because this is crazy. I'm team Kayla today. Look, because now that responsibility lies on him. So now imagine if you let a woman make a decision in your relationship, what are you going to do? Lick at her and say, oh, we fucked up because of you. No, we fucked up because you allowed me to make this decision.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm taking your advice. You're advising me. You're gauging his temperature. But at the end of the day, I need to pull that switch because I'm responsible for this household. God damn it, Kayla. I love.
Shout out to Aunt Viv.
Logic, it doesn't have to be so shocking.
It's the first time I experienced this.
It's not true.
You said it last week too. What you
On
mean?
your messy ass show, we agree on a lot of things.
On
Remember?
the playground is where I spent most of my days.
Lord.
You said my messy ass show.
It was fun though. I had like the most fun on that show. It was so fun. Like we really got to talk shit. You know, I liked it.
You good at that?
There you go. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk.
Okay.
Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Kay. There you go. Shout out to Kayla too. No. Yeah. Anyhow, let's move on to the meat of the conversation, man. I want to give a special thanks to Kayla, KQ, and Courtney for informing me about all this information that I'm about to present for you guys.
Say what now?
Huh?
Say what now?
We're going to talk about. Just hold on, y'all jumping the gun. What's wrong? Y'all so anxious. If y'all want to speak, and I sit back, I'll fall in the cut. It's no big, right? Y'all making me feel weird right now.
He hit y'all with the Ricky. He hit y'all with the Ricky, right?
I don't think they watch.
They don't know. They don't know about the Ricky.
Right? No, they don't know. But we're gonna talk about the Supreme Court judge nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson. And so I was shouting you guys out because I spoke to each and every last one of you guys today. You guys enlightened me about the story. So I just want to say thank you.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
I was just trying to see how truthful y'all was.
I'll be honest, that wasn't me.
Me.
Anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and get on to it. So you guys seen the topic on the thumbnail, right? Right?
Yeah.
When I say right, I don't know what the right. When I say right, does that mean y'all confirm? I guess it's like French, right? It's depending on the tone, whether it's a question or a statement.
Looks like you're on an Android right now.
Does it look like I'm on?
Yes.
Blurry as hell.
Everybody looks good.
What's going on?
It looked like Rilla's background when he first got on.
Yeah,
It looks
that's what
animated.
y'all supposed to utilize the private chat for that type of stuff.
You might not be able to
They
see.
don't be usually reading the private chat like that.
I hope y'all don't tell me if my breath stink in Houston. Like,
Oh, I'm gonna tell you and give you some gum.
y'all better.
I won't do
Yeah,
it
I'm
out
not gonna
loud.
tell you. I'm just gonna hand you a piece of gum.
Yeah,
Like,
like here.
You might want some gum?
I don't want to hear that shit.
I'm gonna push it in your direction.
We'll use the curtain and tell you.
He told the curtain used for logic.
Yeah, just hold up. I'll put it back, chat.
Yeah, you see, lead by example. Appreciate it, Mr. Sundress. Anyhow, Supreme Court judge nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson. The subject of the night is, can a woman have it all? Can a woman have it all? So often in these spaces we preach about, you know, a woman can live in her purpose until she meets her husband, and then she should submit to under her husband's authority. Does that sound correct? Is that what we preach?
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, okay. I know it's a little bit in between, but that's for the most part. But here we have Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's a nominee. She's a judge, and she's married, and she has two children, two daughters. One is 21, the other one's 17. So she has it all, right? She's married. Her husband is a surgeon, and she's moving up in the ranks, right? She's moving up to in her career, focused on her career. So when we see that, we often associate that with saying it's almost impossible for her to be able to focus. At least most people would say that, right? So I want to dive into this a little bit. That's a little bit of backstory about her and her situation. And I wanted to kind of equate this to the conversations that we normally have on this platform, which is, can a woman have it all? Can a woman have it all? Start with you, Kayla. What are your thoughts about that?
JR over there looking like Wreck-It Ralph.
What did you say? Did you say me?
Yes, ma'am. You.
Okay. I do think that a woman can have it all. I've said this many times on this, maybe not on this platform, but like in other audio spaces, that I do think that a woman can have it all, just not all at the same time. When you do it all at the same time, your bandwidth is so. I just don't think that most women have the bandwidth to do it all at the same time in the most effective way. So I think that, you should do certain things at certain times, and life is seasonal. And in certain seasons, you do certain things. So you can definitely have it all, but it may not be all at the same time. I think it's very difficult. But like we were speaking, she did, with everything that's going on with her now, I mean, her kids are grown. So she has more time to focus on, being on the Supreme Court. So that makes me more comfortable versus like if her kids were like 5 and 7 and she was in this position right now, I think that would be like a little difficult. I don't know how I would feel about that. But as a mature woman with grown kids, I think she has optimal time now to do things like, do the Supreme Court and like do more heavy career things now that she's empty nester. So I definitely do think that women can have it all, just not all at the same time.
So they can have it all then.
Because if you say,
yeah, they can have it all. I just don't think that they can do it all at the exact same time. Like, I don't think you can be a new mother and like, it's certain things that are happening in certain seasons that I think that it would be advantageous for you to focus on that thing in that season. And then in the next season, you can do those other things. Like when you're young, you maybe focus professionally, whatever. And then when you're a mother, you focusing then, and older, maybe you getting into being entrepreneur, like, and just different seasons in life, you do different things, and you're still having it all, it just may not be.
No, you're not having it all. That means you had something.
Huh?
That means you had something. If you see her say, can a woman have it all? That means she has it all. Like she got the whole world in her hand. Like she have it all. But if you're saying at do a different stage in her life, she had things, then yes, I would agree with you. But at one time, can a lady have it all at one time?
I don't see it say anything about at one time. It just said, can a woman have it all? And if you had it in the past, that means you had, it was have at one point. So I mean, if you want to create that other context, I'm sure someone else could speak on that.
So let me clarify. Let me ask a question. Are we saying have it all? She can have the good husband. She can have the great household. She can have the career. She can have the kids. She can have the money. She can have it all. She can have everything that she wants and still, without having to, in my opinion, sacrifice of what we say that women have to do in order to be able to have a marriage or have a man at a certain status and all of that. That's my interpretation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can. I mean, even Judge Lynn Toller came into one of my rooms on Clubhouse and spoke about it in depth, and just how she conducts herself at home with her husband versus how she conducts herself obviously on divorce court, and how her and her husband like managed those things through the years of their kids growing up, and how he was the one that pushed her into even doing TV and doing any of that. She was just a lawyer. She was just a judge, and he is the one that pushed her into that. And I think that, like, I mean, she may be a unicorn because, I mean, there's only one Judge Lynn Toller, but she's proven that you can definitely do it. So